Good morning, students. In the previous video, we have started the chapter the medieval period, and in this chapter, we have studied about the various sources from which we get the information about this medieval period. So we are on the last part of the chapter, that is excavation of medieval towns, sarais and villages, along with paintings, monuments, sculptures, coins and inscription also give us a lot of information about different aspects of society and culture. So according to the according to the historians, we get the information from the excavated towns, sarais, villages in which people used to live in that period, and from the paintings they have made about their culture, and so many other things are there. Like you can see, this is a monument, old fort Delhi. So we get this information, and we can learn so many facts about these periods, and in the following chapters we will study about the medieval period in a deep manner. Now these are the keywords. You are supposed to read these keywords very carefully. Let us do the exercise, something to know. Take the correct option. The period from 8th to 18th century CE in India is known as modern period. Then Prithviraj Raso was written by Chand Bardai. Name the language in which Ain-e-Akbari was written. It was written in Persian language. The significant achievement of the medieval period was the popularity and availability of paper. Tehkeek-e-Hind is famous travel account. Now match the followings. Purana, that is a book. Ain-e-Akbari, it is written by Abul Fazl. Inscriptions, source of information. Marco Polo, he was a foreign visitor. Excavation, digging underground. These questions are also very important, and I will submit these questions to the school, and then they will be uploaded in the assignment slot in your DAV website. So let us now start the next chapter, history chapter. Only we are going to take up again the rise of small kingdoms in North India. So how small kingdoms rose in North India? What were the conditions of North India at that time? We are studying medieval period. Harshvardhan was the last ruler of ancient India. So when we talk about ancient India, we learn that Harshvardhan, he was the last great ruler, last significant or important ruler of that time, ancient India. After his death, the whole empire disintegrated into many small kingdoms due to miserable economic condition and lack of proper administration by his weak successor. So it's a very long line, but it says that after his death, his successor means who were his sons or grandsons, they were not able to bind the whole, integrate the whole kingdom. Their administration was very poor. They were not able to rule in a proper manner. This was a period of political instability in North India. This is the reason his weak successors poor administration was the reason that there was instability in North India, means politically instability. No great ruler was there so that the political stability will be there. Then three powerful kingdoms arose between 750 CE and 1000 CE out of the ruins of Harsha's empire. Now, Harshvardhan's kingdom was not there. That rule ended. Three powerful kingdoms arose. So, in between 750 CE and 1000 CE, three powerful kingdoms were there. They arose, they risen. Which were they? And hence this period is also known as the age of three empires. Ab, who were these three empires? The Rashtrakutas took over the control in northern part of Deccan. So number one, Rashtrakutas. So where they controlled? They took over the control of northern part of Deccan area. Then the Palas in eastern India. They took over the control of East India, Bengal and Bihar region. And then Pratiharas in Avanti, southern Rajasthan and Gujarat. So these three are very important. We are going to study about these three kingdoms in North India. Number one, that is Rashtrakutas. Number two, that are Palas. Number three, Pratiharas. right? You can make notes on this. You can write Rashtrakutas, and in bracket you can write where they took over the rule, and likewise you can do the next two also. The three main kingdoms, though continuously engaged in wars, were successful in providing stable administration. So the thing is that these kingdoms also, they were busy in warfare. So in ancient time it is a common thing to be busy in warfare, right? They were busy in warfare, but still their administration was very effective, stable, which helped in the progress of art and literature. So because of the stable administration, art and literature also grew at that time. Now Rashtrakutas. So let's begin with Rashtrakutas. The Rashtrakutas established the most powerful empire in northern Deccan in 753. So their empire was most powerful of that time. It was established in Deccan, northern Deccan in 753 CE. Common Era, CE Common Era. They became the masters of a large area of the present Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra and Karnataka. So see how huge their kingdom was. It covered Gujarat, our present Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra and Karnataka. At that time these divisions were not there. Their divisions were different. Their empire acted as a bridge between North and South India. सो नॉर्थ एंड साउथ इंडिया के बीच में एक ब्रिज का काम किया उनकी एम्पायर ने. दंती दुर्गा इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी द रियल फाउंडर ऑफ राष्ट्रकूटा एम्पायर. इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन, हु वॉज द रियल फाउंडर ऑफ राष्ट्रकूटा एम्पायर? दैट वॉज दंती दुर्गा. गोविंदा थ्री एंड अमोघ वर्षा 1814 से 1880 CE were the well-known Rashtrakutas king. So there is a difference in the question. Two questions are there in these two lines. Who was the founder? Founder was Danti Durga. Who were the great rulers? Great rulers were Govinda III and Amogh Varsha, right? Then the Rashtrakutas were very great warriors. So their warfare was very famous. They were very good warriors. They were art lovers also, and they were intelligent. They were scholars. They took up titles like, Chakravarti, means they use it, he is a Chakravarti king, right? Maharaja Diraj and Param Bhatarak. So these are the titles they used to give to each other or to the personalities they think. They maintain huge armies and encourage trade of the prosperity of the people. So they had huge armies, army भी बहुत बड़ी थी, and they encouraged trade also, business also they encouraged. Rashtrakutas followed Jainism but also patronized Buddhist, Hindus and Muslims. So their religion was Jainism, but it was not like that they did not like other religions, but they patronized means they gave the permission to the people that they can use their religions, and those religions were Buddhist, Hindus and Muslims. Rashtrakuta rulers were great patrons of art and learning. Patrons of art and learning means they used to pay attention to these things also. Their rule saw the flourishing of regional literature. Rock cut temples of Ellora, these are the examples. Rock cut temples of Ellora, you can see, belonging to Hindu, Buddhist and Jain sectors, are a proof of the religious tolerance of Rashtrakutas. So means religiously they were tolerant. ऐसा नहीं था that if the monument is of other religion they will destroy it. No, they patronized everything. King Amogh Varsha himself was a great lover of Sanskrit. He wrote Kaviraga Marga, one of the earliest works in Kannada poetry. By the end of 10th century, the Chalukyas crushed the power of Rashtrakutas and took over the control of their kingdom. So this is the thing, we have studied about Rashtrakutas, but what happened at the end? Chalukyas came. Chalukya is another dynasty. It came and it crushed the power of Rashtrakutas, and Rashtrakuta rule was ended and they took over the control of the kingdom of Rashtrakutas. So today we will study about Rashtrakutas only, and in the next video we will study about Palas. So what is the important thing for you to remember? Just make small notes that three kingdoms, you can put 3 kingdoms and then mark 3 arrows: Rashtrakutas, Palas, and Pratiharas. Okay, then under Rashtrakutas you will write founder Danti Durga. Then you will write famous rulers. You can write the name of Amogvarsha and Govinda III. So main things you can make like that. The chapter will be very easier for you to understand then. So thank you and have a nice day, students.